Good day and welcome back to another Dbz Dokkan Metal video. In this video we're going to take a look at how you can beat Omega Shenron from the Shadow Dragons event. Now, usually I post this video first, then I post the challenge missions, and then I post the no item run. But when I was trying to do the stage for the first two times, I ended up basically doing a no item run. So essentially I ended up kind of skipping like a process with it. It's not the end of the world. I just thought, should I post this video, should I not? Well, I'm going to, because firstly it gives people another team option to kind of use, I guess, when facing Omega Shenron. And also I support beating stages with items, so I feel like if I don't show me beating the stage with items, people will try or think it's whatever. Basically, I think it's okay to use items on the stage. I am using it, and so it is what it is. Omega Shenron poses a couple challenges. So there's 3 phases to this fight, and to a certain degree he is just a beefed up version of Sin Shenron, which is fine. I think it's more than okay design to basically just have him be a beefed up version of the stage before him, considering that they're the same character, etc, etc. The big thing with this Shenron, so to say, is a couple things. So firstly, alright, Omega Shenron in his first phase is tech, in his second phase he is strength, and in his final phase he's int. And now the super important thing is the gimmick that each stage provides. So in the first stage he can stun and seal you, he also can lock you in, he can also he prevents evasion, which is quite big. Quite a big thing to understand, but he has no AoE, which is quite important. Now in the second phase he does do an AoE, but he also greatly raises his attack after he fires a super, so the amount of damage you will take from AoEs is vastly more after super attack from him than it would be beforehand. So again, it's pretty rough. So basically it's kind of a double whammy there. So pretty tough, but the strength phase is kind of just a weaker variant of the int phase. Now the int phase is pretty gnarly. Basically he just does a lot of damage. So he can do 1.4 million super attacks. He does very, very chunky AoE, and basically he just gives you some pretty bad vibes all around. Now the big thing with Omega Shenron and the big thing with this fight is just managing your units and being a bit flexible with position. So like in the tech phase things are a little bit easier because he's only really attacking like a normal boss. He's not got AoE or anything. This is the time where you really want to try and build up whatever units need to be built up. So for example here we have Trunks and Super Saiyan Trunks and Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta. They need to get off attacks. We need them to just build. Get off all your super attacks, just kind of build yourself up. And whatever units you have, whether that's Tech, Carnival, Goku, AGL, Gohan, whoever it is, whoever needs to build up, whether it's by being hit or being attacked, this is your best phase to do it with relative safety. He still hits hard, he still supers hard, but most of the high-end meta units will survive. So yeah, it's definitely something you want to kind of factor into this point. You need to sort of like make sure that you are focusing and ensuring that you are building the necessary stacks on the units. From the strength phase onwards, you need to start being flexible, where you're going to put the units, who's going to go where. Physical units in this phase will take chip damage on his AoE attacks. But if you choose the right physical units, or you can use your items during this phase, you can actually secure a very easy final phase. I say easy obviously in inverted commas, it's not always super duper easy or anything like that, but the reason being is because obviously the final phase is int. Omega Shenron is a int type character. The more physical units you have, the more of a natural baseline advantage you're going to have over him. Now the big thing for me when you look at the int phase of Omega Shenron is obviously the more physical characters you have, also the more damage you do. So the faster that goes and the easier time becomes. So basically what that means is, if you can get through the strength phase and you have like 2 or 3 pretty solid physical units, they are generally enough to, as long as your other units aren't taking huge chip damage, they are generally enough to kind of give you a super good foothold in the round. Like, great examples are transforming Vegeta. Physical transforming Vegeta gets to like 700, 800k defense. All of a sudden, he can do huge damage. He can tank really well. Super Saiyan Trunks here, he'll have close to 1 million defense. He tanks super well. The physical Trunks and Vegeta Buu duo, super duper solid here. They tank very well. Physical Vegito, who's not great at tanking supers. Well, actually, he can tank supers half decently if he gets his super attack off here, but again, tanks normals really, really well, boosts the rest of your team. All of those units are really big choices because of how, firstly, of course, how much damage they actually do. And then secondly, of course, the fact that they can soak up normals with ease, and then obviously super attacks with ease. Outside from that, it's a, I want to say, just kind of pretty straightforward affair. I would honestly build my team more physical orientated and just try to item my way through the strength phase. That feels like a very solid strategy. But otherwise, yeah, most times it's just a DPS rush. Save a lot of your active skills for the int and the strength phase. Don't be scared to finish the strength phase with an active skill. The strength phase is quite tough, and at least getting through it means that you're dealing with one typing, you know what you're dealing with. The strength phase especially is, like I said, quite dangerous to physical units, and that's what tends to prevent teams from getting through to the int phase. I found that most times, because I've done this event a couple times now, I would say most times once you get through to the int phase, generally speaking, I've managed to win. Whereas most times where I haven't finished the strength phase, or how can I say, where I've decided to save stuff instead of using it to finish the strength phase, I found that tends to make me lose. Because I don't finish off the strength phase, and then take one more super attack than I thought I was going to take, and all of a sudden I'm just not in a good position. I'm in a bit of a pickle, and you know what, things aren't going great. So yeah, I think that's definitely something to be aware of, but at the same time it's just going to depend on your box. There's tons of great teams with this nowadays, especially after the WWC. We got a ton of buffs to like Future Saga and all things like that. So I think for the most part, there's plenty of great options here. Just you do want to avoid any units that gain a lot of their defense on super. You're going to need around like 400k, I think, to survive the AoEs in the final phase. So you do need to, meet that requirement. So if you have units that gain a lot of their defense on super, or don't have damage reduction or guard or something, and are below that threshold, then they're not going to have a good time. But yeah, that's it for me. I hope you guys can forgive the out of order videos, but I still want to post this because I still think it's a lot of fun, shows a different team, and I can talk a bit more about just the bosses, mechanics, and general strategy. But yeah, that's it for me. Bye.